Hey, you guys, it's Megan from Create Your Future. And today we have Brittany here with us, and she's a coach at Create Your Future. So definitely check out her description and link below if you're interested in her helping coach you in anything you want in your reality. But you guys, today we are going to talk about a client success story that Brittany's had. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to know that your manifestation is guaranteed. And she's going to talk about one of her clients who's able to get her SP to actually move cross country back. Okay, so this is an amazing story. As always, you guys intend to hear the next success story or that you're going to find something valuable in this. So, hey, Brittany, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited for you to tell the story. I think it's really going to benefit the viewers.
Yeah, this is really exciting. So I had a client who was working on living in the end with her SP for a while. And she's, even though she knows circumstances don't matter, she was having a hard time because she's living in Texas and he was living in Europe for work.
Mhm.
And she was trying to create all these things like, well, maybe he'll move back here because of his job, or, maybe he'll move back here because of this or that. And she was having a hard time with it because she kept, even though she knew that circumstances don't matter, she was still getting hung up on the fact, like, she's like, I can't see myself being in a relationship with him if he's not even living in this country.
Mhm.
So instead of like living in the end of the relationship, we decided to live in the end in him just moving back to where she lived.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, and so it was so funny because when he ended up moving back, so there's that's the success.
Yeah,
um,
amazing.
but when he moved back, it had nothing to do with him, with his job or anything. He ended up inheriting a house that was like fully paid off and fully paid for from an aunt that he had never even met before.
Oh my
So he
gosh.
was like, oh my God, you're never going to believe this, but like, I have a house, it's really nice, and it's in Texas, and it's basically already it's paid for. So I'm
Wow.
100% moving back. I'm going to change jobs. And he was looking for jobs and, was going to make it work. So she
Mhm.
was like, okay, this is crazy. Like, I just did not expect that to happen.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's amazing. And you're right. Just living in the end, and that's just coming up with your desire. And like we said before, kind of dwelling in that state more than the others, just going back to that over and over again. But I think it just points out you don't have to figure out the how because you can never figure out how things are going to work out. In fact, figuring it out is actually creates a block for me and makes my manifestations take longer.
Right. That's exactly what I told her. I was like, look, it doesn't matter how he's going to move back here. Like, do you care how it happens? And she's like, I mean, I guess not. And I'm like, exactly. All that matters is you get your result, and you get your desire. So stop worrying about how it's going to happen. That's not your job. You can't control how that's going to happen. That's just, it's just going to make it take more time and delay it. So just
Mhm.
focus on him living here and live in the end, and predominantly put your focus on that, and it will come, because that's how manifestation works. It has to.
Yeah, and I think that's so important what you just said right there. I think that's really key is would you care how it happened?
Hmm.
It's just here. And I think that's like a really key term. And that's really, I guess, a great way to explain living in the end is would you care about any of these circumstances, anything, if you had your desire?
Right. I know, because we have like these preconceived notions of like these circumstances are going to affect the outcome, but that's not how it works at all. Like, let go of all of those preconceived, ideas of how these things will work out, and just focus on the end. That's it. And it will come. And honestly, it takes so much pressure off yourself too. So why even think about the how, when it's gonna slow things down for you.
Right. Just creates those limitations.
Hmm.
And
Another thing she had said was, when we were working on this whole like living in the end thing of him being living where she was
mhm,
like, I want you to give me some techniques of how exactly I can do this so that I know for sure that it's going to work. Like, I always question like how I know my manifestation is going to
yeah.
come, and I mean like the perfect technique. And I was like, well, number one, there's no perfect technique. Techniques are not like rules, they're tools to get you living in the end. All
Mhm,
you need to do is change the state that you're in and predominantly live in that state, and your
mhm,
manifestation is going to come. So it's not about techniques. Like, if you like to script and that makes you feel good and it helps you live in the end, then totally do that. But if you
Mhm.
don't like it and it gives you anxiety, like she had said, she was like, it makes me like feel nervous and I don't feel good when I'm doing it. It feels like a chore. So I was like, well, you don't want it to feel like that. You want it to be fun. Like this is all fun.
Yeah.
You're choosing your reality. Like don't make it a job, make it fun. So if those techniques don't feel good to you, don't do them. You don't have to. Like there's no rules. You get to create the rules. Like it's
Mhm.
all you.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that too, because I was thinking when I was testing this out years ago, it's funny that you said that. I used to have a resistance. I was like, I wonder, I was just writing lists basically. And I was like, I wonder if I have less resistance to writing it out versus thinking it. And I did. Like I had it created more anxiety for me to write things. So it's funny. And again, I started noticing it. I'm like, okay, and it just was me personally. I was creating the meaning behind it. I was creating, I'm not like that anymore. But at the time, that's, it felt like if I wrote something, it was a stupid limiting belief I had. If I write something down, it doesn't come true. So
Mhm.
I created that rule for myself. Obviously, and I started realizing these are my thoughts I was creating, but at the time I didn't know. And I was like, all right, I wonder if I'm just going to, which one comes faster, just on the fly when I think about it or when I write it down. So it's interesting you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was another thing that I said. I was like, you don't, besides scripting, like she was like, I know there's visualization and like I
Mhm,
like doing that. Sometimes it feels good, but sometimes I
mhm.
worry that I'm doing it wrong. And it's like, you are never doing it wrong.
Yes.
That's what you have to understand. Like, whatever feels good to you is what's going to work. Like, you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to do affirmations. If you like affirmations, do them. But like, you can literally just write it down one time, like write down the new story and be done with it. Like it doesn't have to be like this strict like schedule,
Mhm.
because she's like, I know I've heard people say like I need to like set a timer and do my affirmations at this time. And I'm like, if you want to do that and it feels good, do it. But if it feels like a chore to you, don't do it. Like it's just, I know that there's so many like different,
Yeah.
things that are said in the
Mhm.
community about this stuff. And it's like, it's so simple. I know it's not easy, but it's simple. So don't complicate things. Just do the basics and you will definitely see your manifestations coming in.
Right, absolutely. And I think you're right about the scripting thing. There's plenty of things I've scripted and never looked at again, but that's because my dominant thought was not like questioning it a million times and wondering the how. I
Mhm.
scripted and knew that I was like, all right, not looking at it anymore. And I think also I was listening to a Neville lecture. I was just looking at my notes because I was writing about it today. I was listening to it. And I just thought how he put it was great. It's like, how would you feel if you were free? And I think that's what everybody wants, living in the end. How would you feel? And what he was saying about that whole thing is just like what you're saying is, I can't tell your client or you or my daughter how they're going to feel if they want something for their wish, because that's their desire. How would they feel? So I think you're right with the techniques and everything. It's really basically, how would you feel? What would you hear? What would be being done? How would you feel? Because I can't tell you personally how you would feel for something.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's so true. And that's a really good point. It's it, there's no one fit, like there's no one thing that's going to work for everybody. It's all personal and you get to choose what you want.
Mhm.
Um, and when he did move back here, she was like so shocked by it. And it's like, yeah, when a lot of times when manifestations come in, like you're like, oh my God, that is what I was manifesting. I can't believe it showed up like this.
Yeah.
So now that that showed up, she's like, okay, I'm not going to question things anymore. Like, even though I was in a habit of like trying to figure out the how with everything, I know it's going to work out. And I just keep telling myself, like, it doesn't matter what shows up. It doesn't matter what's showing up right now. Like, I'm still going to get what I want. So
Mhm. Mhm.
they are dating right now and she's working on getting into like a more committed relationship with him. So that's what she's working on. But she doesn't feel like she has to worry about how it's going to happen. She's just like, I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like you said, it gave her the confidence. She's like, if I got someone to move all the way across country, I could not even plan that, figure out how that happened. This is inevitable.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. That's good. I think that's really great. I'm so happy for your client.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
So, well, that's great. So, you guys, hopefully that totally helped you guys out. And again, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And Brittany, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, and definitely remember, check out the description and link below because she is available for coaching and she knows her stuff, you guys. So we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.